Max Rissman,
Yeah.
director, writer, filmmaker. Upon waking, how did you come up with the story?
Well, after that litany of titles, why not add Duchess?
Yeah.
Let's see. Upon Waking has been a work in progress for about 2.5 years. Originally, it was a very different, a very kind of simple, straightforward story about two roommates who start to develop feelings for each other. And it was one of those stories that just wasn't working for a really long time, and I was trying lots of different things, and nothing was working, but I knew that I just had to stick with it. And eventually, when I started to read about near-death experiences and how they really transform a person's perspective on life and often cause massive shifts in personality and priorities in life, I became really fascinated with near-death experiences and started to think what would happen if two people fell in love during a shared near-death experience. And that is the genesis of Upon Waking.
Amazing. Okay, so directing. When did you decide you wanted to be a director?
Well, I directed my first play when I was in high school, and it was a catastrophe, and I vowed that I would never direct again. But then when I was in college, I made my first short film when I was studying abroad in Prague in the Czech Republic, and I was studying at this film school that was very well known as one of the only film schools on the east side of the Iron Curtain during the Soviet era. It was kind of where all the Soviet directors would go to study. And so I went there with a bunch of wide-eyed, bushy-tailed college students, and we directed our movies in Czech, which is a language that I don't speak, so I had to get my script translated by a translator, and all of our crew spoke Czech, and basically had to relay instructions through this translator, and it was a very interesting experience, and I got totally addicted to directing, and I knew that that's what I wanted to do in the rest of my life.
Amazing. So when I say Molly, Vanessa, what comes to mind?
Molly, Vanessa? They're one and the same to me. I mean, Vanessa was exactly what I envisioned for the character of Molly, and she told me that she really resonated with the character right off the bat. She felt a lot of connection to her, and it clearly shows because she really nailed the part, and her instincts were completely spot on, and I couldn't possibly picture anyone else in that role who could do nearly as good a job.
When I say Elsie, Irene, what comes to mind?
Her instincts were just impeccable as well. I really, she would kind of notice so many things that I didn't notice in my own script, and would kind of pick out these details that really fleshed out the character. And she has a really great understanding of the filmmaking process and what needs to happen for the movie to work, not only her character, but for the entire story to work. And it was just a real privilege to work with actors like that who really grasp the story and know what needs to happen for the story to be told in the best way possible.
If there was an elevator pitch and there was a cinema fan on it, how would you pitch Upon Waking to them?
So my very brief one-sentence pitch is that it's a love story about two women who fall in love during a shared near-death experience. I feel like that pretty much encapsulates it.
And is there any character written in the story that reminds you of you?
They all do. Yeah, especially both of the main characters. You know, both of the main characters suffer from a lot of self-doubt and self-loathing, and I feel like I'm in a much better place in my own you know, life and in my own regard of myself. But there were definitely times in my life when I struggled with self-loathing, and that's kind of what drove me to write, was to work with and exercise those demons. So I definitely put a lot of that into these two characters, and so they both kind of reflect certain aspects of myself.
Awesome. When I say director of cinematography, what comes to mind?
Well, Sterling Bancroft comes to mind immediately. Yeah, he is someone who, you know, when I was introduced to his work, I saw his reel and saw his, you know, visual style, and I was totally blown away, and I was like, over the moon when he agreed to even talk to me, not to mention to shoot this project. And, you know, he made this movie so much more than what I envisioned it. He really synthesized every visual thing that I was going for, and executed it to a T, but also brought so much creativity to the visual storytelling into the project. I really wouldn't have been able to do it without him.
Amazing. And when you hear Cole Brothers, what comes to mind?
Nick's red hat and denim jacket, which he wears all the time, and Josh's sweatpants and flip-flops. No, when I first met Nick and Josh, I had nothing. I didn't really know anyone in the Los Angeles film industry, and I was you know, just groping my way through the darkness, hoping that like somehow I would meet the people that I needed to get this movie made, and they brought pretty much everyone on board who wound up working on the film, and they were really the starting point for you know, everything that we needed, and they really delivered and followed through and made this movie possible. Huzzah!
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's finish this thing.
Yeah. If you couldn't tell, we're like 5 hours away from the last moments of this movie, so it's a pretty crazy place to be, but
It's amazing.
it's very gratifying.
Okay, let's do it.